welcome from Aarhus, one of the oldest cities in Denmark, but also one of the youngest and fastest growing in the country. We're about 3.5 hours away by road from the capital of Copenhagen. This is a city of contrasts, a city filled with energy, and for the next 8 days hosting the TotalEnergies BWF Thomas and Uber Cups. We're coming to you live from the Aarhus Sports Park and more specifically the indoor Ceres Arena. It's the 31st edition of the Thomas Cup with 16 men's teams participating and the 28th edition of the Uber Cup. And this year we have 16 teams in total from across the globe. Let's run through the tournament schedule. We're into day 2 of the 9-day extravaganza. So from day 1 to 5, it's the group stages. Day 6, we see the quarterfinals of both the Thomas and Uber Cups. Day 7, it's the semi-finals of the Uber Cup, and the quarterfinals continues in the Thomas Cup. Day 8, semi-finals of the Thomas Cup, whereas we have the Uber Cup final. And day 9, to finish it all up, it's the Thomas Cup final. So here's a look at the groups in this year's Uber Cup, which is the action we will be witnessing on Court 2 shortly. Group A consisting of defending champions Japan, 3-time title winners Indonesia, and European powerhouses Germany and France. Group B, who will be featured right here on Court 2 shortly, have 2018 finalists Thailand, 2-time semi-finalists India, Spain and Scotland. Group C comprised of 2010 winners Korea, Chinese Taipei, debutants Tahiti and Egypt. Group D, we have 14-time champions China, host nation Denmark, Canada and Malaysia. So we'll be coming to you with 3 exciting sessions here on Court 2 today, starting with the Uber Cup tie between Thailand and Scotland this morning, followed by Group D action with China taking on Malaysia in the afternoon. And the evening session sees Thomas Cup action between India and Netherlands. First up though, it's the runners-up from the last edition of the Uber Cup. It's Team Thailand making their start here in Aarhus. Although they are without the services of Ratchanong Intanon, they still boast a stellar lineup. They'll be taking on Scotland this morning, hoping to better their showing from way back in 2018. And this is how the teams will line up today. In the first singles, we have Pornpawee Chochuwong taking on Kirsty Gilmour in what promises to be a highly entertaining clash. The women's doubles first rubber sees Jongkolpan Kititarakul and Rawinda Prajongjoy taking on Julie McPherson and Kiara Torrance. Second singles has Busanan Ongbangrungpan take on Rachel Sugden. And the women's doubles second rubber sees Putita Supajirakul and Sapsiri Teratanachai take on Rachel Andrew and Eleanor O'Donnell. The final match of this tie will see Pityaporn Chaiwan take on Lauren Middleton in the women's singles clash. First up though, it is the women's singles first rubber between Pornpawee Chochuwong and Kirsty Gilmore. They are going to be a very, very highly anticipated matchup between these two. And back with me in the commentary seat, who knows all about being part of team events, playing in the Uber Cup, is Australian national team player Grania Somerwell. How are you doing this morning, Grania?
I'm great. It's nice and early, but I'm happy to be here and watch some world-class badminton again, and really looking forward to our first match.
It is going to be interesting because Scotland, of course, making their debut in this tournament as well, so they must be really hyped up for this match, their first group stage match, although it's against Thailand, of course.
Yeah, I'm sure they're just super happy to be here and be part of their first Uber Cup team event in the finals. They, I think, beat quite a few good countries to qualify through the European Teams Championships, so I know they're pretty happy to be here.
Yeah, they of course finished in the semi-finals at the European Championships women's team event in 2020, and that gave them the bronze medal, which allowed them to qualify for this Uber Cup. So very exciting times for the Scottish women's team, who are going to be on display very shortly here on Court 2. And obviously, Pornpawee Chochuwong is the next shining star as far as Thailand is concerned. She has had really, really good results in the last couple of years, sort of burst into the scene. Busanan Bangrumpan also is one of the highly rated women's singles player, while as Pichipan Chaiwan is the upcoming one. So Thailand, even though they don't have Ratchanok at this stage, if you look at that lineup, they should be quite impressive.
Yeah, their depth is really impressive, and especially with such a young team still, they have some great years ahead of them. And we were discussing earlier how Pornpawee, though she's #1 in this team, she just narrowly missed out on qualifying for the Olympics behind Busanan.
Well, there you go. Pornpawee Chochuwong walking onto court as we speak, and she will be leading the team as the first women's singles in this tie against Scotland. While as her opponent, Kirsty Gilmour, there she is, about to walk on. She is the, I guess you can call her the veteran, but definitely the team leader. She is the oldest, but also been around the tour for a very long time, so she knows all about what it takes to do well in these big events. And she walks onto court. Grania, you know, being the team leader in such events carries an extra burden. And how do you deal with that as a player?
Yeah, I think being the most experienced and having a younger team kind of following you, looking up to you, it is a little bit more pressure, but it's also an honour. I mean, she's gotten to that stage within Scotland where she is, you know, has the highest achievements and has been representing Scotland so wonderfully on the tour for so long. So I think she, you know, would take it in her stride, and she's a great role model, and I'm sure all the other girls in her team really look up to her.
As we see the coin toss happen between the two, they have met once before, and Pornpawee Chochuwong won that one. It was at the Daihatsu Yonex Japan Open in 2018. Pornpawee won it in straights at that point, 21-18, 21-7 in the round of 32. And the players will warm up now in what will be the second meeting between these two women. And for Pornpawee, taking on from Ratchanok would be an interesting role as well, don't you think?
Yeah, I mean, Ratchanok has kind of been the leader of the women's singles in Thailand for so long. She, I think, won her first World Championships when she was like 16, so super young. So she's been at, you know, within the top 10 for so many years. But it's great to see these other Thai girls kind of coming through and, you know, starting to challenge her even.
Well, she's ranked 10th in the world. It's the highest ranking she's gotten, Pornpawee Chochuwong, aged just 23 years of age, and 170 centimeters tall, born in Rayong, Thailand. Looking, of course, to lead the team to the first win in this match. Kirsty Gilmour, 28 years old, 168 centimeters tall. She's ranked 26 at the moment, but she has broken into the top 20 before, reaching the highest ranking of 14. She's born in Belton, Scotland, but she now lives in Glasgow. So, the umpire for today is Georgian John from Brunei, and the service judge is Ivo Castle, and he's from Switzerland. They'll be officiating this match between the two players. As we wait for the players to start getting going in this match, Scotland will be feeling that they have nothing to lose going into this match. They are definitely at the underdogs, taking on the 2018 finalists, the runners-up. So they will definitely feel like they can just play their natural game and play to their best ability. Kirsty Gilmour, if she makes a difference here, by winning this match, it would change the entire mentality of the team.
Yeah, for sure. She'd definitely be looking to try and get Scotland off to a 1-0 start. So I think this will be a great match.
Well, the players get ready to get the match going. And the Thai players, as always, when they get on court, it's traditional to sort of welcome themselves on the court with the, putting their hands together in front of them and bowing. See them do it at every match. And it's lovely to see these bits of tradition on the courts.
And the respect.
Yes. Nozomi Okuhara normally bows when she enters and bows when she exits.
And as we saw yesterday, we seem to think the shuttle was a little bit slow. But we'll see how it is today.
Represented by Kirsty Gilmour. And on my left, Thailand, represented by Pornpawee Chochuwong. Thailand to serve. Level. Play.
Beautiful way to start.
It is indeed from Kirsty Gilmour, a lovely drop shot just in front of Pornpawee Chochuwong. She wouldn't have made it there in time. How important would it be to get off to a good start in a match like this with so much at stake?
Yeah, I think it's really encouraging being, the first tie of the day and first match for the whole team event. They'd really love to, set the scene for the rest of the tournament.
Oh, that was really well played from Chochuwong across the net. Delightful little drop shot. And Chochuwong, of course, coming off the Sudirman Cup, where she got one game in the group stages, beating India's Malvika Bansod in straight games, and then she lost in the quarterfinal to Ansayong. It was a really, really close match. So she's got some matches under her belt coming into this tournament, which can only be a good thing.
Yeah, I think it's great, especially for the Thai team that, a few of them were over in Sudirman and in Finland, so they could, get used to the time difference and kind of get more comfortable being in Europe, having to travel all the way from Thailand.
It's aggressive play from Pornpawee Chochuwong.
Yeah, she really has those great angles. If anything's a little bit too flat in the rear court, she can just cut it off just like that and give the opponent no time to recover.
Team Thailand, of course, a big contingent here, both the men's and the women's, in action at the Thomas and Uber Cups, and they've got a lot of people to cheer them on, which is always a good thing.
And they usually have some good cheers as well. Sometimes they bring a whole drum set, a lot of, different headwear and stuff, so they're a good time at team events. But there's some horns going from Team Scotland. They seem very enthusiastic also.
I saw them earlier, obviously when they do the group kind of huddle and they kind of pep themselves up. They were wearing crowns and robes and, got the horn, got all sorts of gear on, wigs.
Yeah, all out. I love it.
Service over. 4,
Kirsty just
3.
narrowly missing the line there. Players just trying to find the lines a bit in these first 11 points. There's that signature jump smash from Kirsty Gilmour, one of the few kind of singles players that uses it.
She's got a lot of power in her game, Kirsty Gilmour.
Yeah, and just like that, you saw with her kind of extra added athleticism, jumping up, taking it high, she was able to get a sharp angle there, and it just caught the net right there, dropping a bit short from what Pornpawee expected. She really is probably one of the most athletic women's singles players on tour with her explosivity around the rear court. There again, she was jumping up, got that nice angle, took the pace out of the shuttle really well.
And as we know, she's been on the circuit for some time now, so she can absorb pressure really, really well. She's withstood it all, if I can say that.
Service over.
And so, she seems unfazed when things are not necessarily going her way. She can bring herself back, and that all comes with experience. So that's why this match, I think, gives Scotland a really good chance to put up a good start in this tie.
Exactly, yes.
Service over. 6-5.
That's an unfortunate net mistake from Pornpawee. She was going for that just across the net roll. The women's singles game obviously is, you know, you need to have a lot more, it feels like because of the court coverage and, you know, you need to have a lot more variety in your game, just be able to mix it up and move players around so that it plays to your advantage. And the more you can do that in women's singles, especially, or in the singles game, I'd say, the better it works for you in the long run, right? Because if you stick to, say, certain areas of the court, then you get caught out quite quickly.
Yeah, when you're at this kind of level, the more variety and options you have and the more under pressure that you can maintain those options pretty much makes you a better player. Because as soon as, you know, they push it deep to your backhand and all you can do is like a straight pull shot, then that player will just purely wait there. So you really need those options and the variety and the technical, you know, skill and strength to be able to keep options from every position to be able to compete at this level. And that's the difference you'll see between, you know, younger players and old players, is that kind of, you know, technical ability and decision making also. Nice rally here.
Great play from both players. Oh, she just missed that.
Service over.
Kirsty Gilmour staying strong in that one. And so it's just 1 point between the two players. Very little separating them at this moment. It's a 39 shot rally. The longest so far of the match.
Service over. 9-7.
The mid-interval break and getting a lead in that mid-interval break. How important is that for mentally as a player?
Yeah, I think mentally it's pretty big to know that you're leading up to that point and to kind of go into the second half of the match confident and knowing that, you know, you've won the first half. Why couldn't you be able to win the second half and already have that little buffer of points?
Chochuwong now sort of slowly establishing herself in this match with a 3-point lead. That shuttle staying in. And this is where the slow shuttle.
Yes, we saw this a little bit yesterday. Players still kind of figuring out the range and, you know, fine-tuning their judgment on what to hit and what not to hit.
Oh,
unlucky.
That was unlucky for Kirsty Gilmour. So, Pornpawee Chochuwong takes the lead at the interval, 11-7. A little error there, unfortunate from Kirsty Gilmour. Means Pornpawee Chochuwong has a 4-point cushion at this point.
Court 2, 20 seconds. Court 2, 30 seconds. Coach. Thank you.
The coaches being told to go back to their seats as the players get back on court. Pornpawee Chochuwong leading 11-7 halfway through this first game as she prepares to serve to Kirsty Gilmour.
Play.
So Kirsty Gilmour doing well to lift the shuttle, to go behind the player there. Triangle behind the bit, forcing her backwards.
They're really doing well using the whole court here. I think they're finding their range well. Their depth is pretty good all the way to the back of court, and then they're using those tight drop shots and angles. So both of them have to do a lot of work here.
Service over.
Pornpawee does seem to be coming up a bit better on those quick pushes to the corners that Kirsty's hit a few wide or into the net on.
Oh, it was a lovely, lovely cross-court drop shot from Kirsty Gilmour. She knew exactly where she wanted that to go. And Pornpawee late in getting there, which then forced the error off her racket. But Kirsty Gilmour, of course, has led her team in that European Women's Team Championship last year. She won most of her games. You know, even the semi-final, she won her game against Germany. And it was the rest of the team that couldn't quite match up to the Germans, but she beat Yvonne Lee 19-21, 21-19, 21-15 in that European Team Championship in the semi-final. So she is among the best in Europe for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Oh, nice smash from Pornpawee right on the line.
So now it's a 5-point gap in this first game between Pornpawee Chochuwong and Kirsty Gilmour. And how hard is it then to try and climb back? You know, at this stage in the game, when you're like just 4 points or 5 points away from closing it up, how hard is it for the person trailing to mount that fight back?
I think mentally, yeah, it is a bit hard. But in Kirsty's position, I think the reason she's behind is, you know, some of those unforced errors, which are kind of within her control to minimise those. So I think within the rallies, they're quite even. It's just a few of those errors are creeping in and making that difference right now. And Pornpawee, like then, is really finding a way to get it deep into the corners, and Kirsty's kind of struggling to get out of it. See, under there, right there, she's under a lot of pressure in her backhand. So, you know, if she's able to turn that around and do the same to Pornpawee, it will really benefit her. Beautiful. She's been very aggressive from the return, Kirsty. As we discussed yesterday, I think these guys have opposite serves. So Kirsty does the backhand short serve and Pornpawee the high forehand serve. And Kirsty's really making the most of that high serve and jumping up high, snapping it down.
There you go, almost there. Just trying to get that on the line again. Didn't go her way that time.
It's errors like that she just needs to try and cut down to try and, you know, keep it close, stay in it. And that's kind of where the difference between, like, their rankings at the moment is that Pornpawee is a bit better at reducing those unforced errors.
That was delightful for Pornpawee, but Kirsty got there. Maybe a little bit too late to be able to control that well enough, control the shuttle well enough. So it's 17-10 now to Pornpawee Chochuwong. Kirsty Gilmour needs to act fairly quickly to stay in this first game. That was a stunning smash from Kirsty Gilmour. Really, again, finding the line, really strong, which is generally what she is known for.
Yeah, you just don't see many other women's singles players doing that on a high serve, jumping up like that, hitting a smash winner. She's done it twice now, and it's really beautiful to see.
That's a good rally. That is great placement from Chochuwong.
Yeah, it was great. You can see that Kirsty's push just didn't go deep and wide enough. Pornpawee just able to intercept, snap that down. So she just needs to try and get those pushes a bit faster to the corners and more to the side so that she can't intercept it as easily, which is what's working well for Pornpawee.
That last rally, of course, 20 shots. So this is a tough, tight game.
She nearly hit another winner again on the return, but Pornpawee proved too good and got it back.
So now we're just 2 points away from the game to Pornpawee. She's 2 points away from clinching this game. 19-11. Oh, lovely. Really strong from the back, Kirsty Gilmour. She finds her range quite nicely.
Yeah, that was an impressive shot.
And so she knows she's got to fight back. And the longer the rallies go, unfortunately, it seems to be playing a little bit in Pornpawee's favor.
Yeah, I think Kirsty's coming off better those chances when she can attack, and by the end of the longer rally, she's, you know, has a bit less energy, I'm sure, and struggling to get the better of those longer rallies.
That's well out. Chochuwong, a couple of errors now means that it's a 6-point game between these two. But she must be also trying to maybe feel like she needs to close this game sooner than later, and that leads to errors in judgment.
Yeah, she has a little bit of a buffer so she can take some chances, whereas Kirsty here just needs to be thinking about trying to stay stable and no unforced errors.
And there you go again.
On the carpet.
That was wild. It went wide. Yeah. Felt a little frustrated from her.
So at this point, Pornpawee would be thinking, okay, I need to just like play the rally and take a few less risks here because Kirsty's starting to creep up. Kirsty's confidence will be growing as she gets closer to Pornpawee.
Again. So that's now 4 points in a row. That have been more errors from Pornpawee than anything else, and Kirsty Gilmour will be taking advantage of that kind of slightly shaken mindset.
This is when being the leader in the scoreline here, you start to get a little bit nervous thinking, oh no, I'm so far up, I can't possibly lose this. And if you are in that mindset, you can tighten up a little bit and these errors just come. So as long as, Kirsty can keep her composure and really focus, play some good points, it's an opportunity to creep back in.
So what would the coach be saying from the sidelines at this point to Pornpawee, you think?
I think it will be to just stay calm and just play the rally and not go for anything too impatient or too soon.
19.
And Kirsty Gilmour is mounting a mini comeback here. She was 11-19 down and now she's 16-19. It's just a 3-point game, which in badminton is not a lot.
So Kirsty just changed the shuttle before this point as well, so I think she would have done that trying to get Pornpawee to lift out the back like she just did, which, is a good tactic as a player to take into consideration all those things with the shuttle and your opponent.
Just when you thought Kirsty Gilmour was coming close, Pornpawee Chochuwong capitalizes on the error, and it's game point for the Thai singles player. 20-16. She has 4 game points to convert it into an advantage in this match.
I think a little bit of relief just would have washed over Pornpawee there. An early Christmas present.
She'll take what she can get.
Exactly. Any player does at that point. Big cross-court snap from Kirsty.
And that was in, it was called in, so Kirsty Gilmour is challenging that. As you mentioned yesterday as well, Grania, this late in the game, you challenge it, right?
Yeah, there's no harm done really. If there's any doubt in your mind, you may as well use the challenge this close to the end.
And it is in. So that means Pornpawee Chochuwong has won this first game. And she's won it 21-16
First game won by Thailand.
with a confident performance there from the Thai. Though, you know, at the end, she was a little bit nervous in that second half of the first game, but she pulled through. And that is what, you know, you do in big matches, in big circumstances. You just hold your nerve, and Pornpawee Chochuwong has done that, winning 21-16 in 20 minutes in this first game.
I think the fact that Kirsty was able to creep back in at the end will boost her confidence for this second set as well. And, you know, rattle Pornpawee a little bit, knowing that she can bring that at any time. So it'll be interesting to see how this second game kicks off. You can see that Kirsty has the ice pack there. The stadium is a little bit warm considering we're in Aarhus where it's about 13 degrees outside. The heating is obviously on inside the stadium, so the players are sweating and obviously working hard.
Yep, I'm in my t-shirt, which is a rare sight in cold Denmark.
Exactly.
So that just tells you that it's a warm stadium, which is good for us as viewers, but not necessarily for the players.
Yeah. You get a workout here just putting your jackets on and off throughout the whole day, going inside and outside.
Court 2, 20 seconds. Court 2, 20 seconds.
So 20 seconds before the start of the second game in this first match of the Uber Cup tie in Group B between Thailand and Scotland. Pornpawee Chochuwong against Kirsty Gilmour, the first of the women's singles. Chochuwong having won that first one 21-16 and will serve in the second game.
Oh, lucky shot there, Pornpawee coming off the frame. Kirsty is coming with a lot of smashes and snapshots. I think Pornpawee knows to wait for that at the moment. So it'd be good to kind of see Kirsty mixing it up a little bit with some clears and some tight drops, really making the court big and then coming in with these snapshots a bit more.
It was just out from Pornpawee Chochuwong. Kirsty did well to leave it there. We're going to get a good understanding of the movement of the shuttle in this arena. I guess the first game was more of a testing time. Second game, they're more certain of how the shuttle moves. Oh, she was going for that across the net shot. Didn't quite work out. Between the 20 or 30 second mid-game break and the 2-minute longer break in between games, do you think the coaching changes in the way the coaches talk to you? Do you think that in between games it's more about strategy and maybe changing it up or tactics?
Yeah, I think in the interval at 11 points, obviously it's a shorter time, so the coaches have to just come with a few quick points and kind of keep it simple so that you're not overwhelmed with, you know, processing what they say and then implementing it straight away. And then at the 2-minute interval, they can go into a bit more detail, and they obviously have the whole game to reflect on and you know, use to better you in a second.
Obviously what the coach told Kirsty Gilmore seems to be working at the moment, early on. It's putting the pressure on Pornpawee. That was nicely placed.
Second winner she's just hit on that shot. It's definitely one of her best.
She's a tall girl, Pornpawee Chochuwong, as well, so she can, you know, reach for the shuttle quite easily.
Play.
Not making it over there. Kirsty with a bit too much of a flat left there. Pornpawee again able to intercept, not giving Kirsty time to recover.
Scotland obviously joining in the Uber Cup stage, having not played, unlike Thailand, in the Sudirman Cup. Match fitness will be a key here as well for the Scottish team. Kirsty Gilmore obviously last playing a while back, not been in action for at least 2 months, so on the international tour at least. So this will be a good test of her fitness as well.
Yeah, for sure. But I think she's also always had pretty impressive fitness to keep a high level in the women's singles. And she's obviously plays super athletically.
She last played, of course, at the Tokyo Olympic Games. In the group stages, she won one and lost one. But that's still been 2 months away, so it's been a while since we've seen her back in action.
Good rally there with net touch.
She let it go, and that was a good call from Pornpawee Chochuwong. Was going well out.
I feel like Kirsty is pressing a little bit too hard, and Pornpawee can kind of just sit back and wait for her to come with these smashes and angles and hard shots, and then have more options because she doesn't have to kind of think about the other shots as much, so she can, you know, use her blocks, use her skill, and then wait for her opportunity.
That was out. That was maybe trying too hard now, Kirsty Gilmore. And this is when a little bit of the pressure sets in. You know, you're almost halfway through the second game. You're a game down. You start thinking a little bit more about how you can change things, and that might affect you mentally as a player. Kirsty Gilmore now 4 points away from Chochuwong. It's 8-4. A mistake now coming from Chochuwong, but take nothing away from Kirsty Gilmore's stroke there.
Yeah, I think it's good when she uses those stop drops a bit more, the high clears to really make the court big, and then it opens up Pornpawee a bit more to come in with those angles and the smashes that Kirsty has.
That went
Chochuwong challenges.
out. It was called out, so Chochuwong is challenging that call.
Kirsty seems to be getting a little bit frustrated with her game at the moment. Some of these unforced errors, I think, being Pornpawee, knowing that your opponent can play a rally and then just finish making an error, it's a bit easy, and it's clearly in there.
So Pornpawee gets it right. She knew what she was doing.
I think now she's asking how the line judge messed that up so quickly, so majorly. But when it's that fast, it is hard to see.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't want to be a line judge at the moment because, you know, yesterday, as we saw, my calls weren't always accurate. So I don't want to feel the wrath of the player at the end of it.
But it is comforting now as a player to know that you can challenge and kind of get that second opinion when there is doubt.
Oh, that was good from Pornpawee Chochuwong. Good net play from Pornpawee Chochuwong.
Yeah.
10-5 now, so we're 1 point away, or Pornpawee is 1 point away from that mid-game break with a cushion of 5 points. And there she has it.
11-5.
So, 11-5, Pornpawee Chochuwong doing well, keeping her cool and staying strong. As she takes a lead at the mid-game break, 11-5, with Kirsty Gilmour left with all the work to do.
I think Pornpawee is staying super composed here. She's playing really well, and like I said, in those longer rallies, she knows that she doesn't have to do. She's not forced to try and take any big risks. Like when she has the opportunity, she goes for it. But she knows that at the moment, Kirsty seems to be going for stuff a little bit too soon, and those errors are creeping in. So she can have that little buffer of knowing that some errors might come from Kirsty. And I think conversely, Kirsty then is feeling a little frustrated that she's trying all these different things and it seems to be working. So in this part, she might try and, you know, calm down a bit and try and play it a bit cool, get into the rally before going so hard.
So we're at 11-5 in the second game as play restarts after the break from Pornpawee Chochuwong to serve. That was a great smash from Kirsty Gilmour, coming down hard on Pornpawee Chochuwong.
Now's really her chance to get pumped up here and try to fight her way back. Switch to the forehand serve for this one.
Oh, that is great smash from Pornpawee Chochuwong. Really stretching herself.
She just has that accuracy, finding the line so well in all of these attacking shots. When we train this kind of shot in training, we put the shuttle tubes up on the line, and I'm sure she's a pro at knocking those over.
Yeah, I've seen that. I've seen the training shots where you line up all the shuttle tubes and you're trying to knock them. It's almost like a domino.
Yeah. The sound when it hits and falls over is pretty satisfying.
And the joy of making it.
Yeah.
It feels like you've achieved something.
Yeah. You've scored a goal.
Yeah.
Kirsty's just letting those ones get behind her a little bit too easily. If she can, you know, take them early, take that shot as an overhead, she'd be in a much better position than taking it as a defensive pull shot.
What can you possibly do now? If you were Kirsty Gilmour, what would you possibly do now to change it up, just to make sure you're back in the game?
I think try to keep making the court big for Pornpawee and just staying quick, Kirsty, and trying to take everything early, not let the shuttles drop too low at the net or let her get too far behind her in the rear court.
Again, another error. Unfortunate.
You can see by her reaction that she is pretty frustrated. But I mean, she's playing well. She's in the rallies. It's just she's not coming off with the winner at the end there.
That's out. So finally she's got a point in.
15.
Made it an 8-point gap. And every point helps at this stage when you're trying to mount the comeback. Pornpawee though looks like she's giving nothing away. She's just keeping herself calm. Her expressions are just, calm. Doesn't look like she's flustered in any way. Obviously she's 15-7 up, but still, it's an important match to win.
16.
Again with that shot, because it got kind of behind Kirsty, she didn't have many options. Could only really play that pull shot, and Pornpawee was just waiting right there and had so much time to get that beautiful net spin perfectly.
She's certainly come into her own, Pornpawee Chochuwong, in these last couple of years. She's delivered some fantastic performances over the years.
Yeah, it's actually been really cool to watch her progress.
It's a 10-point lead now for Pornpawee in the second game, 17-7. And it really seems like a difficult ask for Kirsty Gilmour at the moment, especially with Pornpawee playing so confidently.
Oh, finds the line again. That was beautiful.
18.
Kirsty's clear was a little bit flat. Pornpawee just jumping into it again, finding the line. And like you said earlier, how Kirsty hasn't, competed that much since the Olympics. Pornpawee, in the meantime, with the depth of the women's singles in Thailand, has, these great sparring partners, all within kind of the top 10, top 15. So she's able to kind of maintain this level, whereas coming from a small country, Kirsty, only has so many options to spar with. I think she trains in Denmark a little bit, but, isn't exposed to this high level of badminton as often, so takes some time to adapt.
And just like that, it's 19-7 now in the second game to Pornpawee Chochuwong. She has really controlled this game very well, the Thai singles player. It's an uncharacteristic error from Pornpawee at the moment.
That's the pressure Kirsty's needing to try and put Pornpawee under.
That was well played by Kirsty Gilmour at the net, and then pushing her opponent back.
I feel like there is a little bit of drift to that side of the court. From my angle, it kind of looked like that clear shot did get taken a little bit.
And out again.
10. 19.
So a couple of good points for Kirsty Gilmour. That was again a fantastic cross-court smash from Pornpawee Chochuwong. It looked in, but Kirsty Gilmour has decided to challenge.
I think that has got to be her signature shot. It is just beautiful to work upon.
And that is in. There was no doubt in Chochuwong's mind.
Unsuccessful.
And so it is match point for Pornpawee Chochuwong. 20-10 in this second game. She's got 10 match points to try and take this in 2 games. It's a good rally. Oh, And that was the final blow, unfortunately, for Kirsty Gilmour. So Pornpawee Chochuwong winning that 21-16, 21-10 quite easily in the end, as Kirsty's challenge faded off, especially in that second half of the game. Pornpawee, of course, giving her team now that all-important 1-0 lead. They'll play all 5 matches, of course, in the group stages, but to be ahead 1-0 and a strong win for Thailand means they will be feeling good about their chances as the matches go on. Players are walking off the court.
So easy as a player to forget to put your mask on after the match.
It is hard because they go from here, they go straight to the mix zone, and when they have to talk to the press, they're really kind of struggling because they've had a really obviously, tiring match on court, and then some of them have to like hold the mask outwards, like pull it out, take a few breaths, and then start talking.
Exactly. It seems so unnatural to think of putting something on your face when you're huffing and puffing coming off the court.
It's not very attractive, is it? But I think they just, they've done really well to play and then come to the mix zone. And there you go. Match point again from Pornpawee Chochuwong. That saw her seal the win for Thailand. She played really well. And then the final shot placement there, knowing Kirsty would not make it in time, finding that line, the inner line, was fantastic. And so, it is Pornpawee Chochuwong who has sealed the first women's singles for Thailand, 21-16, 21-10 in 40 minutes. A really good performance for the Thai #1 women's singles player. This is the Ceres Arena, an indoor arena, part of the Aarhus Sports Park that also includes Aarhus Stadium, a football stadium that is home to the local football team. And it is the third largest football stadium in Denmark. But we're at the indoor arena right there in the middle of your screen. And we are witnessing the Uber Cup tie between Thailand and Scotland on court 2.